Hope everyone's having a good Wednesday. I should have your test graded either yesterday or today, and on the first part of Greece, but we're going to start in the second part of Greece today. But to understand the second part of Greece, you have to understand the conflict that's going to arise, with a group called the Persians. The Persians are going to be an empire that's going to expand a lot through the Middle East and some into even into Asia. It's a very large ancient empire, and they're going to come in conflict with the Greeks. So we're going to the first part is going to be really centered around the history of Persia. And then we'll get into the conflict today as well. You're going to watch a video after this and answer questions on the video about the first battle of the conflict between Greece and Persia. These videos are called decisive battles. They're from History Channel. They basically use computers to show you what the battle might have looked like back in whenever 200-300 AD. So you will answer questions based on that. It's not going to be hard, but if you pay attention to the video, you should be fine. So the first ruler of the Persian Empire, really the person who started the Persian Empire, was Cyrus the Great. Cyrus the Great is mentioned in the Bible. He is someone that is going to make the largest empire ever, excuse me, I'm sorry, I just heard a ding, somebody texted me. So, I'm sorry to sort of get off track there. But he creates the largest empire ever, overthrows a group called the Medes, and starts the Persian Empire. Here's the Persian Empire here. You see that it goes all the way into the left where it says Lydia, that's current day Turkey, and it goes all the way into almost to India. So at the time, it's the largest empire ever created. So that's saying a lot. If you notice there, it covers Judah too, which is going to be where the Jews are. So we're talking about a very, very large area. Okay. How did they conquer all these areas? Well, they had a very strong military, and they had this specific group called the Immortals. The Immortals were these 10,000 soldiers. We're going to talk about the Immortals later on when we get into the conflict of the Persians and the Greeks. But they were bad dudes. They were well trained. They knew what they were doing. In some ways, they'd be the best of the best of the army. They used cavalry units, soldiers on horses. That's what cavalry means, to ride and be quick on the battlefield. Now, after Cyrus's death, his son takes over, who is going to eventually be killed in a rebellion in Egypt. But we're going to focus on Darius. Darius is going to be Cyrus's grandson, who is going to take control of the Persian Empire and is going to be the individual who's going to have conflict with the Greeks. Okay? So Darius is going to organize his empire into areas 20 different provinces, basically not splitting his empire up, but basically putting people called satraps, basically going to be like local governors, who are going to rule all these 20 different provinces. So 20 satraps, 20 different provinces around the Persian Empire. And it's going to be easier for Darius, because that way he's not going to have to deal with every little issue. These governors are going to deal with issues in their provinces. These satraps, that's the governors, are going to deal with every little issue in their province. It's going to be easier to collect taxes, to control rebellions, to judge certain cases. It's going to be easier for the empire to sustain itself. It's going to be easier for Darius. Darius is going to build roads to the empire. We talk a lot about roads. She-1-D built roads. Roads, of course, can be important for transportation reasons. Their capital is called Persepolis. And there's going to be a religion that's practiced in Persia that's only going to be practiced in Persia. It doesn't spread outside Persia, and it pretty much dies after Persian Empire falls. It's called Zoroastrianism. Not a whole lot to that. That's more of a Jeopardy question, but the Zoroastrianism is going to be the religion that's in Persia and not going to spread. So let's get into why the Persians want to take Greece. So what happens is a revolt is going to break out in an area, and I'm going to go back a couple slides, so bear with me here. See where Lydia is to the left? There's going to be quite a few Greek city-states, polises in that area. Well, there's going to be some rebellions by these polises against the Persians in the area of Lydia. Okay? And what happens is that some of the Greek city-states in mainland Greece, okay, so in the area on the peninsula of Greece, are going to help those Greek city-states in Lydia rebel against the Persians. Well, when the Persians find out about this, they ain't happy, okay? And they're very upset about this. Darius is so mad about it that he says, you know what? I'm going to go and punish those Greeks for helping in these rebellions. I'm going to send an army across the Aegean Sea over to Greece, and they're going to pay the price for these rebellions, which ultimately starts the Persian Wars. The Persian Wars are between the Greeks and the Persians, and the first battle of the Persian War, where the Persians send an army across the Aegean, happens at a bay, a little bay called Marathon, okay? And this is the video you're going to watch, is about Marathon. And at Marathon, the Greeks are going to be outnumbered, but what the Persians do is they split their army up into two parts. One's going to land at Marathon, the other one's going to try to go around the Greek peninsula and attack the other side of Greece in the city of Athens. So what the Greeks do is they defeat that Persian group at Marathon, and they have to march all the way over to Athens to defend that. So when the Persians get to Athens and they see the Greek army there, they're like, uh-oh, what happened? So really it was an upset. This is March Madness. It's all about upsets right now. I mean, Oral Roberts beat Ohio State and Florida, so you can sort of say at that time the Greeks are the Oral Roberts, the 15 seed beating a 2 seed there in the Persian Empire. What's unique about the Battle of Marathon, and possibly you've heard of someone running a marathon. A marathon's 26.2 miles. We got that 26.2 miles is because there was somebody called a runner, basically someone, because they didn't have telephones, they didn't have cell phones. People had to send messages by people running a distance to deliver that message. This runner goes from the Battle of Marathon all the way to the Greek cities of Athens, 26.2 miles, to tell them of the victory. And that's why a marathon is today is 26.2 miles. And that's why it's called a marathon. The runner, by legend, when he got to Athens, told them the news, he fell over dead of exhaustion. Talk about, wow, I mean, he must have been real. I mean, that's a lot, given his life to tell that message. So what you're going to do is you're going to watch this video on the Battle of Marathon, and you're going to answer the questions with it. There's not going to be many questions, but please pay attention to it. And please make sure that you are answering those questions properly, okay? If you have any questions, let me know. Miss getting to see you guys, and talk to you soon.